What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel. Giving a shout out to the crew, Shad, Kelvin, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right. For everyone who's tuning in, continue supporting Behind the Bench, subscribing to the channel, helping the show become the best that it can be. The grassroots sports channel on the landscape. That's right. Check this out. Remember back in, I guess that was this is November. It was 2 days after the presidential election. Well, it was back in July where this individual in this photo was introduced as the new head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, right? JJ Redick, right? An individual with no coaching experience at this level, under any capacity. But what's ironic is, not only did it take Redick a long time to select his coaching staff, when they hired Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks to serve as his assistants, but it should have been the other way around. You would have thought that either Nate McMillan or Scott Brooks would have been hired as head coach, and then Redick would serve as the assistant, or act as the assistant, I should say. But when you're in this mode and you've been hit by the hurricane, well, you go against logic. And as I keep saying, there's nothing logical that has taken place since all this started that is now entering its 7th year. But remember during Redick's introductory press conference, he was energetic, defiant, confident, abrasive. He had that youthful energy, right? Because he's a relatively young guy. Probably like in his early 40s or whatnot. He don't look too much different than what he did during his playing years with Philadelphia 76ers and the LA Clippers. He played for the New Orleans Pelicans for about 2 years. He was a solid role player. Won't take that from him. I'm not even suggesting that he couldn't be a legitimate head coach at some point. Once you prepare yourself and build yourself and earn that opportunity to do so. That's not what happened in this case. That wasn't the process of which he was hired. But funny what happens 8 months into a basketball season in the NBA. And to show proof of that, give me 1 second. Booyah! That's the same man 5 months later. He don't look as energetic. He look like he has aged 5 years. He looks dazed, frustrated, as if he fell off into the sunken place and wants to get out. Well, welcome to the Terror Dome, baby. It's the same Terror Dome that Darvin Ham had to endure. It's the same Terror Dome that Frank Vogel had to endure. And it's definitely the same Terror Dome that Luke Walton had to endure. It's nothing different. It's just a different body that's being cast. And it's going to produce the same results. Look, when you look at all the great head coaches, man, the long-standing head coaches, the legendary head coaches of this game, from Greg Popovich to Phil Jackson to Pat Riley to Chuck Daly, Red Holzman, Red Auerbach, Eric Spoelstra, Billy Cunningham, Casey Jones, Lenny Wilkins, Jerry Sloan. I mean, we can go down the line, man. Don Nelson, Rudy Tomjanovich, even a Mike Malone, they all had to start from the bottom and work their way up. All of them. And don't be surprised if this man steps down within a year or is let go within a year. One of the two. Don't be. I'm not predicting nothing, saying it's going to happen, but don't be surprised. His temperament right now is not suited to be a head coach because he didn't build himself up and go through the proper steps to prepare for this hire. And already, the Lakers bench or reserve players are getting thrown under the bus. Last night, D'Angelo Russell was thrown under the bus. Everybody gets thrown under the bus, man, except for the eye of the hurricane, man. Who's basically building up his stats at the expense of the team because he's not playing any defense. And it throws the rest of the teammates off because they have to, essentially try to compensate for the lack of defensive effort that we're witnessing with the hurricane. And what's funny is the Lakers got up to a 3-0 start this year. Only team in the NBA whose first 3 games were at home. They started off 3-0. Now you figure, 3 of those games, out of 3 of those games, they will win 2 of them. Okay. So first game, they played the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? They played the Timberwolves team that has a new addition in Julius Randle. So Randle and Ant-Man are slowly trying to build up their chemistry amongst each other, right? But what's ironic is Minnesota's 5-3. Then you look at the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Phoenix Suns, right? They have a new addition on their team, point guard Tyus Jones. So they trying to work out their chemistry between he, KD, and Devin Booker, whatnot. But funny thing is, they're 7-1. Then the Sacramento Kings, new addition, and DeMar DeRozan, who's replacing Harrison Barnes, who's been with the team for about the past 3 years or so. They defeat the Sacramento Kings. They trying to work their chemistry with DeRozan, him and De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis or whatnot. But what's funny is they're 5-3. And what's the old adage? It's not how you start, it's how you finish up. It's how you finish up. And like I said, man, as the Lakers enter 7 years of this association with the hurricane, when I critique the team, it's never about that particular season. It's about what was given up. So even when they so-called won in the bubble, my mind was what was given up to produce this. Because essentially, 10 years was given up for one season. It don't look like it because every year you got 2 superstars on the team and the talking heads, the pundits or whatnot. They're going to try to convince fans that, the Lakers, what they say, the Lakers are relevant again. He made the Lakers relevant again. The Lakers have always been relevant. They just had a down period. That's all. Just like other, like I said, New England Patriots, they're at the bottom of the heap now in the NFL after being on top for 20 years. Every team go through it. You look at the Washington Commanders. They've been down for over 20 years, but all of a sudden, boom, they in first place in the NFC East, with a record of 7-2. And all of a sudden, you got players across the league that want to join in and either be traded to Washington or sign with them in the future as free agents, so they could become a powerhouse once again. It's all about a year-to-year thing. You're not going to win every year. So what I'm trying to say is, I've always based this situation based on what was given up. It's never about, oh man, we ready to win a championship number 18. It's not even about that. It's about what was given up. And you see it out on the court. You see it on the court. You got players on the team that's playing out of position. Rui Hachimura is not, to me, he's not a starter. He wasn't a starter when he was traded to the Lakers. He lost his starting position in Washington to Kyle Kuzma within 2 months after Kuzma was traded there. Okay, so he looked good because a trade, took place that the league had no time to adjust to, and now the league is starting to adjust to the Lakers lineup. You see what I'm saying? And it's off balance. They do not have a true center on the team. They do not have a true point guard on the team. So when you're caught up in the midst of this guy's style of play, the league has passed it by. And that's why the roster is in flux every year. We go through this every single year. And this honeymoon that Redick had, the honeymoon is over. Just like Darvin Ham's honeymoon. And it's going to become more frequent. It's going to become more tenuous as we reach the end of this this vacuum that the Lakers have been steered towards. It's a vacuum of epic proportions. I believe that the franchise will be stagnated for years to come. And they will be at the bottom of the NBA landscape for who knows how long. When I look at the signs, when he left Cleveland twice, the first time I believe that the league saved the Cleveland franchise from collapse by ensuring that they would get a slew of number one picks to begin rebuilding the franchise. And then the second time, the franchise was almost like divine intervention when they benefited from the James Harden trade. It was a 14 trade. I believe it involved Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Cleveland, and Indiana, where Cleveland received a lot of young, talented players and a lot of draft picks. And look at them now. They got the best record in the NBA. They're 9-0. See, it's funny what happens, man, when you take the steps and you build incrementally. You don't take shortcuts. When a team begins to gel, man, all that effort that seemed like would take forever up front, once it hits, then it's worthwhile. You don't even think about it no more. But when you take the shortcut route, you get shortcutted in the process. You shortcut yourself right out the process. And that's what's happening right now. That's what JJ Redick about to find out. It's going to show he's not qualified to be a head coach. Not saying he couldn't be a head coach at some point, but he's not qualified to be a head coach because he is not prepared for that role. In this business, you don't see that in the NFL. Usually head coaches work. You don't see ex-players of the NFL automatically become a head coach. You never see it. They become a positional coach, like Mike Singletary, the great Mike Singletary, linebacker of the Chicago Bears. He became a linebacker coach. Then, at the years of being an assistant coach as linebacker with, I think, the Baltimore Ravens, then he became like an interim head coach with the 49ers. Now, it didn't work out, but it just shows that ex-players like Tom Brady not going, and we all know who Tom Brady is, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. When they retire, man, they don't become head coaches, dog. They become positional coaches first. You know what I'm saying? Same thing in baseball. You have to go through the steps, man. And that's not what JJ Redick was required to do, and it's going to show. So I just want to drop this video real quick. Last night, the Lakers lost to Memphis Grizzlies by the score of 131. I think the score was 131-114. And Anthony Davis, I know he was out of the lineup per se, but he was in uniform when they lost to Detroit by double figures. The team lacks what it gave up. First of all, it lacks chemistry. It lacks chemistry because it entered the season with negative energy because nobody wanted to come to the team and sign as a free agent, right? After they lost in the first round. So I'm quite sure that fans were led to believe that they was going to be able to sign someone. Don't nobody want to come here. They don't want to join this. And I believe was producing a lot of this malaise and what appears to be a lack of effort is dealing with the situation where a young man was drafted and had no business being drafted into the NBA. Where you could have used that roster spot to bring in a legitimate player to help your bench, who now the talking heads say is not good or good enough, is not deep enough. But when you're dealing with this dude, and when the talking heads pressure you to capitulate to him, you're going to make moves that's not based on logic. And then when it doesn't work, which is obvious that it's not going to work, then the front office is going to be lambasted anyway. It's a no-win situation. It's a lose-lose. On the court and just the overall psyche of the franchise right now. See, even when we had the down years, even when we were bad, we were still the Lakers. You still know where things stood as a franchise. But when you deal with this dude, all that gets eradicated, man, because they're going to try to convince people, even in year one, they said the Hurricane, he could take any team and turn it to a title level team or lead them to the finals. And they went nowhere in year one. Nowhere. And even when Brandon Ingram was averaging 27 points a game after the All-Star break, was playing better than anybody on the team after the All-Star break, that first year with the Hurricane on in uniform, Kyle Kuzma was giving you 18 and 20. So along with the Hurricane scoring what he normally scores, Ingram was scoring 27 points a game, and Kuzma was giving 18 and 20, and they didn't make the playoffs. But if you look back at the Lakers championship team of 2009 in particular, Kobe Bryant led their team to the championship with no other 20-point per game scorers on their team. Gasol averaged about 18.8. The third leading scorer was Lamar Odom. He was giving you about 14. And then the backcourt, the same two positions that are being criticized now in Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. Well, neither Derek Fisher nor Trevor Reeves were averaging double figures. But Kobe led them to the championship. Austin Reeves is averaging 17 points a game. He's averaging more this year than any other season of his career. Right? But Derek Fisher was giving you about 9.5 points a game. Trevor Reeves was giving you about, Trevor Reeves was giving you about like 9 points a game. No other 20-point per game scores on the team. Not only did the Lakers win the championship, but they won 65 games that year. 65 and 17. Does this team like it's about to crack the 60-win barrier? Does this team look like it's about to crack the 50-win barrier? And it all points to the adage. This is why I'm so disattached from the whole situation. If they had stayed the course, they would not be on their fourth head coach in the past 6 seasons. They may have made a coaching change, because Luke Walton was hired to coach the young core in the beginning stage of their career. So when you get to point A to point B, then if you want to say, okay, maybe we'll, hire a more experienced coach or whatnot. But maybe if you stay the course and exceed expectations, you would see that Luke Walton may have been the right head coach. Look at that head coach down there at OKC. What's his name? Mark Ranigault. Well, he was coaching when they were down. Now, boom, look at him. Boom. That could have been us, would have been us if we had stayed the course. So that's where my mind is since all this started, man. It ain't about getting excited by any offseason moves or saying, oh, man, we signed this guy. We ready to go. Like when they signed Kendrick Nunn, I felt nothing. When they brought in Carmelo Anthony, I felt nothing. When they brought back Dwight Howard and Avery Bradley and Rajon Rondo, I felt nothing. It was nothing there. It was no true connection, because this is all really a short-term venture, man. It has no permanent uh like when you look back at the Lakers history, you have distinctive eras, man. Of course you have, Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then Showtime. Then you start over, Eddie Jones, and crew, Nick Van Exel. They rolled for about 5-6 years. Then the Kobe and Shaq era started, and they have a long lasting impression with the franchise, man. This don't come across as such. This don't feel nothing like it, nothing, because a shortcut was taken to achieve a goal that at the expense of what the Lakers could have had for over 10 years. So therefore, because of the fact that the future was mortgaged away, there's nothing. There's nothing. When you really understand what's going on, there's really nothing to get excited about. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know. And the thing is, like I said, everybody wants to see their team win. I get it, man. And I'll be glad when all this over. But at the end of the day, like I said, when you give up your own players, man, that's about as. When you do that, you lose something. When you do, and they showing improvement, they playing hard for you. They want to be Lakers. They were Lakers. Like, think about it. Even for the fans who were led to support this situation, to have those young men traded, they cannot tell me that when they see Brandon Ingram, whenever they see Brandon Ingram, that in their mind, they cannot say that he's not a Laker. Because the only reason that he was traded is because the Hurricane wanted him gone. Kuzma, even with his perceived eccentricity, he had a Reggie Miller mentality at the close of games, man, that very few players have. And he's a 6-man level player. And he had a superstar mentality in a 6-man of the year ability as a player. That's a rare combination. That's a rare combination. But when you see Kyle Kuzma, knowing where he started his career, he's still a Laker. See, that's what I'm saying. Julius Randle, he's been on 4 teams now since leaving LA. Well, this is the 4th team of his career. But when you look at him, he's still a Laker. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. The psychological impact of going this route is huge. And I believe because of that, me personally, I'm not trying to get philosophical or nothing like that. And I'm going to shut this video down. I believe when other teams play us now, it's not about beat LA. Because when that whole chant started, that started in 1982 when the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Boston Celtics in Boston Garden in Game 7 to clinch the Eastern Conference championship, and the Boston faithful cheered Philly on, and they started the Beat LA chant that that rolled through the 80s and through the 90s and through the Kobe Shaq years, Kobe Powell years. That was real, man. Beat LA, but it was more about beating those legendary figures of the franchise. But now when teams play us, man, I think in a way when they compete against us, it's almost like they saying, man, y'all dissed y'all own players, dog. We not even feeling that. And I believe that's why Mike Malone came on with who's your daddy? Over these past 2 years where the Lakers have no answer for Denver. I believe it is born out of that reality that the Lakers gave their players up, man. And that's heavy to me. But like I said, JJ Redick finna find out what Darvin Ham found out. What Frank Vogel found out. That's all. It's gonna be the same result. Ain't no trade can fix this, man. Because let's say even if you make a trade, I'm just being hypothetical. Even if you make a trade to try to help this dude win, fans know it's gonna be at the expense of a future that's already been given up. So when this all ends, man, when he finally gone, and out of the league, when AD is gone, all of us, whether we was for this or against the situation, we all know what the future lies. There is no future. Going into it, when all those young men were let go and traded off, there's no way in the world that fans didn't know up front that the future was being mortgaged away. And once this so-called run ends, that we was going to be down for some years. See, we already knew it. So that's why, me personally, man, like I said, I'm not the only one. Believe me, it's a lot of Laker fans out there, man, that wish they stuck with their young core. A lot of them, man. I just had to be one of the few that have a opportunity to, speak to it, on a even if it's a minimum platform like this. That was heavy what the Lakers did, man. That because you had to convince yourself that this was worth it, knowing this was a short-term venture. And it's all for a guy that has a losing record in championship play, where you always have to constantly help him out to help him win, when it should be the other way around. That's why there should be no debate between he and Michael Jordan. There is no debate. When you think realistically and understand what competition about and what it really means to win and how you win, how you go about winning, there is no comparison. None. Zilch. Nada. But JJ Redick, man, he look like he done aged 5 years already. It's only 8 games in. And eventually he gonna be catching that heat too. I don't think he's prepared for it. I don't think he has the temperament, because he hasn't prepared to take on the duties as head coach of an NBA team. And it's gonna show. So I just want to throw that out there. Until next time, as I always say, this is JB for BTB Behind the Bench.